What can you do to make a good first impression? I've got 10 things for you in this video that are ideas that you can do that'll help give you that great first impression. And the first few are actually things you do before the meeting even starts. Before you're giving a presentation, before you're speaking, before you're meeting anybody, there's a few things that you should be aware of. First of all, check your social media. And I'm not talking just about your LinkedIn. I mean, that's an obvious one. Make sure that your LinkedIn profile looks good, that your picture looks good. But also, don't be naive to think that people aren't going to be snooping around and looking on your Facebook and your Instagram accounts. People do that kind of thing. Even if they're locked down, you might want to check and see what people can see publicly on your account. And make sure that if you've got any controversial content, that you've at least kind of locked that down. It's an important thing. People get a first impression of you oftentimes before they even meet you. They see your image online. They'll read about you. And so make sure to check that. Even do a Google search on your name and see what comes up. Next thing, put away your phone. Now, we are all addicted to our phones. We get our emails, we get our messages on our phone. But just put it on Do Not Disturb. If you're meeting someone for the first time, if you're presenting, if you're introducing yourself, that first impression is key. And if you're on your phone just before you look up and they greet you with a handshake, that's a bad first impression. Better to put away the phone, put it on Do Not Disturb. Now, a lot of us have this common sense, but this also continues throughout the meeting, throughout the presentation, throughout the day. If you are always on your phone in a first interaction with someone, that just does not look good. I see this a lot at trade shows and conferences. A lot of times in these events, you're on your feet frequently, and it's so easy if it's slow to pull out your phone and check your email, check your messages, go to your social media. You're just better off making sure you're careful with that. Keep your phone in your pocket, keep it on Do Not Disturb, and then when you're at lunch, go ahead and check those things. Do find a way to get yourself in a good mood before introducing yourself to somebody. If you have a meeting or a presentation or some other important reason that you're going to be making a first impression, get in a good mood. Listen to a few songs in your car before you get out. I do that. I think that's a great way to get in a good mood. Listen to a stand-up comedy routine that's going to have you kind of laughing and a little bit loose. That's so much better than talking about something that's very detailed oriented and being in a real serious work mode, or talking about some personal problems in the car, or taking a phone call that you're going to have issues and discussing difficult things with. These things will kill your mood. And if you walk in and introduce yourself and you're in a bad mood, that's going to show. People can detect your mood through your expressions very easily. And you don't want that to happen. A lot of these things are almost done subconsciously. And if you've got a scowl on your face because you're thinking about a problem, that's never a good place to be. People will detect that. Another thing you want to do is dress nice. You always want to dress up just one step above who you're going to be meeting with. And so if they're in business casual, you want to be dressed up. You want to be in a sports jacket or something just a little bit nicer. If you're meeting somebody and it's a formal situation, make sure you've got a suit and a tie on. Even if it's a casual situation and the people you're going to be meeting, the group you're going to be meeting, are wearing jeans and t-shirts, have a polo on or some sort of uniform. It's just a good idea to create a good first impression, to be dressed up one level above whoever you're going to be greeting. Do stand if you can. You don't want to be seated if you can avoid it when you're introducing yourself to somebody. And where I see this is a lot of times you're waiting to go into a conference room and you're waiting in a lobby in some chairs and on a couch or a sofa, and then somebody comes in to greet you and they reach down to shake your hand. If you can avoid it, you want to be standing. It's just a better presence to be standing up and greeting somebody. Having good posture is very important. So stand up and then have your shoulders back, have good posture, and that way you can talk directly to them, you can position your body accordingly, you're right there ready to shake a hand if necessary. Always better to be standing and having good posture when you're trying to make a first impression. Also, if you are at a trade show or a conference, maybe you're at a booth, it really doesn't look good if you're sitting down on a chair and then somebody approaches your booth and you have to stand up to go greet them. That's not a good first impression. You're going to make a better first impression anytime that you're standing up and having good posture. Do make sure to use somebody's name. People like to hear their name. It's a very good thing if you're going to create a first impression. And this was taught decades ago by Dale Carnegie and talked about in his book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it's still very true to this day. People want to hear their name. You can overdo it. You don't want to continually be using someone's name that you just met for the first time. But if you are meeting someone for the first time, they will tell you their name, repeat it back to them. And likewise, if you're meeting somebody in a pre-scheduled appointment, know the name of the person you're meeting so you can greet them immediately by using their name when you're being introduced, if you're alone or with a group. Do make eye contact with everyone in the group that you are meeting for the first time. It's a good way to make a first impression, is to make eye contact. And that much is well known, but oftentimes people make the mistake. You're going to a meeting and you're meeting 4 different people, and you know who the boss is or you know who the decision maker is. There's a tendency to always focus in on that person. But you want to be careful and make sure that you focus your eye contact so you're looking around and you're seeing the different people and acknowledging them with both eye contact and occasionally with a head nod. Making eye contact with everybody who you're meeting is an important thing. If you're focused on meeting somebody over here and looking over here, that is a bad way to make a first impression. So make sure you make eye contact with everybody that you're meeting. You want to make a good first impression. Match the mood of the person you are meeting with. If they are in an excited mood, you absolutely want to mirror that back to them. Be excited as well. And if they are very straight-laced and monotone, maybe don't be completely monotone, but you want to mirror that back. Most of the time in a business type of setting, people are in kind of an average business mode, right? However, I once greeted a gal, her name was Barb, and she was just this happy-go-lucky personality, and she immediately gave me a kiss on the cheek, which in America is not the custom, but she was bubbly as could be. So what do? I'm bubbly back. Oh, great to see you, even though we just met. And we had a great lunch and a great business meeting. And likewise, you repeat that if somebody is very stiff and very quiet. You've got to kind of play that game with them and mirror that back to them. Where this gets really interesting is if you are at a trade show or maybe you're at a networking event, you could have to turn up and turn down the dial pretty quickly here. You meet somebody and maybe they're even a little bit drunk at a networking event. They've been drinking and they're happy and they're laughing. Well, you want to laugh with them. Be in that good mood. But then I've literally been in a situation where I've been in a small setting group chatting and drinking at a networking event and they're laughing at jokes, having a good time, and then I turn around seconds later and meet somebody who just got off a flight and they are in a sour mood and just there to grab a drink and go up to their hotel room, and you've got to kind of be careful there that you're not too happy around that person that's in the sour mood, and that you're not too grouchy around that person who is wanting to be in that boisterous and excited mood. So you've got to learn to mirror, and that is what's going to help you make a really good first impression here. One other thing to do to make a good first impression is to have a good, fresh business card ready to go. This is an important thing, that you have one ready to go and that you can pull it out after you've shaken hands with everyone or at a proper time during an introduction and offer it to them. Now make sure, like I say, the corners aren't scuffed and that it's not hiding away in your bag somewhere. Have it ready and it's going to come across as professional Now, this is very, very true if you are doing business in Asia. They take their business cards very seriously over there. In fact, they will usually present them with two hands like this in a very formal manner. And this is really all over Asia, Japan, China, Southeast Asia. You just want to be very careful. Present your business card very formally there and make sure it's a nice, pristine card, not scuffed corners. Also, under no circumstance do you want to write on the back of somebody's business card. I had a habit of doing this, and I learned quickly when I started doing more and more business in Asia that it is bad custom, bad form, bad luck to write on the back of somebody's business card. And so do not do that if you are doing business in Asia. Hopefully these tips have been helpful for you and that you can do these things to make a better first impression.